Mic check, Careers in the Cloud, episode 2, 2023, and we are live again with the man, the myth, the legend, Maurizio Joffre. I throw that term not so lightly. How are you, man? How are you doing?
Good, man. I'm good. I'm on and off of planes like for the past 2 days, but I'm good.
For those that don't know, Mao landed yesterday. So
Good
yesterday
morning.
was Sunday. He rings me and says, I've just landed, comes to meet me, goes for a haircut. By about 8 o'clock, the jet lag finally kicked in. And that's when he had to go to sleep.
Man,
but that's because he was on a
stay
flight.
up the whole night before. Like I woke up the night before at 2 a.m. and I was like, perfect. This is 8 a.m. Spain time. I'm going to try and stay up the rest of the night. My flight was at like 6 a.m. So that was my ideal situation. Just stay up till the flight. I didn't really make it. I kind of fell back to sleep, woke up, got on the plane, felt good. Didn't really sleep on the plane. Got here, had energy, met with you, had some lunch, right? Got my hair cut. And after that, I was like, dude, I'm done.
And then you were in Madrid today. And you just literally landed back.
I wake up at 4:30, get on the plane for just before 7, I think, something like that. And then we just got back now.
Meeting clients, meeting people
literally
out in Madrid.
just got back
Whoever
now.
says the life of a recruiter is easy, it's not. Like
Yeah,
it
but
generally
this
isn't,
is the
but it's
fun
fun.
part, though.
But this is the fun part.
Like I was telling the other colleagues that came with me today, where it's like if you look at this job without all that, it sucks, man. Like
You don't get to meet anyone.
No joke. Yeah, sitting behind the computer, speaking like just phone call after phone call after phone call, never leaving the thing, just sitting in your chair. It's like, dude, it's the worst. But like when you start to get to go out, you start to visit people, lunch here, coffee here, fly here. Like this is the fun.
You
part.
just wanted to drink Carver with Manny. That's literally all it was about.
Why I came here?
Yeah.
We've never met.
That was the purpose. But
Yeah.
leading on
You
to
said
that,
Manny from Manny is coming to the podcast. All right, cool.
But you know what?
Kate, we have cover?
This one was opportunistic, but it always happens the best way that way. I've seen Manny in the Salesforce ecosystem for years. I think we've been connected for a long time. I've seen him go from perm to contract, create a lane in a niche space early before a lot of people cottoned onto it. And I think that's something that he can delve into in terms of those that are looking to go freelance. He's been around, he's got years of experience. He's come to Barcelona and he thought, you know what? You guys are doing a podcast. I might as well jump in. I told him there's Carver involved. He said, say no more. On that note, it's our pleasure to introduce the Careers in the Cloud, Manny.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be on. We're having fun already, so let's continue.
I can't believe you're here, man. I can't believe you're here, Manny. How's your experience in Barcelona been so far? You've been here for like 3-4 days now?
So yeah, I've been here, for about, this is my 4th day, I think, yeah. Barcelona is possibly my favorite city in the world, so it's like a second home. So
I thought I saw you last night, Manny, outside. Manny was up in the club. No, but I mean, for you, you've come Barcelona quite a few times, right? I think you were even talking about potentially seeing yourself settle here.
I mean, I can definitely, I can see it. So I come to Barcelona often around my birthday. Secret, it happens to be on my birthday tomorrow, so
No doubt.
I generally tend to treat myself to a weekend.
Can we get some more Carver in here, please?
A weekend here, just to chill, get some kind of good vibes, some good food, watch the football. So yeah, I decided to do it this year again, and it just so happened that I saw that you were taping this today, so I got in touch to
Oh,
see how I
mate,
could
it's
get
amazing
involved.
to have you here, man. I was telling Mao about you, and I think, look, I've seen you go from perm to contract, and I think that's a great place to start because David touched on it. You know, more people are going into the freelance market, but I think a lot of people expect in Salesforce that they're going to be able to go freelance from day one, that if you just do sales or service, you're an admin, that's it. Talk me through, and Mao and the people watching the transition, Manny, like going from perm to contract. What was that like? And what was that journey like for people who don't know you?
Okay, yeah, so that's quite it's quite an easy one. The decision was almost made for me. So I was working in a perm position, actually outside of the Salesforce ecosystem to begin with, and then I got made redundant. So the decision was kind of taken out of my hands, and I think I'm a bit of a free spirit, quite kind of entrepreneurial to begin with. But I think kind of having to go through that, and just kind of the stress and the anxiety of just kind of dealing with the immediate kind of aftermath of that, I think pretty much made up my mind that I wanted to kind of just pursue my own lane and not have to be subject to somebody else deciding when my time is up.
And like, if you look at what's going on right now, and no joke, like this is real today. Like
It's horrible.
we had to let some people go today. how are you feeling just given the market conditions, like as a contractor? Whether it's good, whether it's bad, whatever it is, what's going through your mind when you see like some of the news come out, people laid off here, people laid off there, like everything?
So as a contractor, I guess I'm still just trying to figure out what way the wind is blowing. As far as, there's a lot of layoffs, right from the kind of mothership itself all the way down. And, so that tells me companies are probably reducing their investment in Salesforce.
Yeah.
And how does that kind of affect us as contractors? Does that make us more valuable or less valuable in the market?
That's a good question.
At this point in time, it's still a bit kind of early to tell. And touch wood, everything seems fine on my end. But I think it's just an uncertain time, just for everybody, just in terms of what are the long-term ramifications
right?
for
Exactly.
the ecosystem.
But you've been busy because you carved out a lane in a space which was quite niche in terms of analytics, and you can see the investment in analytics and the tool and how it's evolved within the Salesforce, right? How did that land? Like, how did you get into that niche space? What made you go into that?
So I'm not going to pretend and say there was a deliberate strategy behind it. I'm not going to lie to
Appreciate
you.
your honesty. But
but
it's usually the way, right? You fall into it.
It is exactly that. And so I was contracting, and there was a bigger implementation partner there, and for some reason I can't remember why it was. Somebody pulled out, and it was then called Einstein Analytics.
Yeah.
So I was there doing some reporting, the Salesforce standard reporting, and they demoed an Einstein Analytics dashboard. And honestly, literally in that second, I was like, I want to know what that is. I want to know. I want to know how to use it. I want to know how to just. And I always tell everybody. I always tell everybody jokingly. So I've worked in the Salesforce ecosystem for a while now. I think I got introduced to Salesforce like 2010. And I've never had a customer get excited about a new kind of page layout that I've built or a custom object. But every time I've delivered a dashboard for the first time, that kind of wow.
They lose their mind.
That's the bit that
Mal loves the dashboard.
That's the bit
Mal loves
I
the
get up in the morning for.
He's rolled out so many dashboards in MA. I appreciate it. It's got that.
I'm
wow
still the only
factor,
one
right?
who uses it though.
Touche, my friend.
But for me, that's why I get up in the morning. So I kind of fell into I'm one of the lucky ones that in the course of my work, I managed to find something that I was really excited by, really passionate about, and I've happened to be able to do quite well with it.
And you've been consistently contracting, from your career, looking out from what I can see, like you've picked up good projects.
So yeah, for the last
different type of clients.
I want to say for the last 7-8 years, with the exception of a very brief spell where I kind of went back into the perm market to get some specific experience in financial services, I've been contracting all that time.
But what's it like getting work in the analytics space? Cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
How remiss of me to start drinking before before the toast.
So British.
Yeah, I don't even worry about it.
Then we got a Canadian on the right hand side.
We get along with everybody. But so what's it like getting work in that space, though? I have my take on it, and I'll say it after, but I want your unbiased opinion.
So again, just due to the niche that I've been working in, I found it a lot easier getting work in that niche than I did when I first started contracting.
No doubt. But is there a high volume of ops, though? Few and far between, but whenever they come, it's usually a hit.
It's few and far between. But I'm in a position that, again, it's niche. So there aren't a lot of people where I am that do what I do. And so when a role becomes available in that space, generally I'm going to find out about it. And if I always back myself that if I get in front of the right people, I can kind of convince them.
My read on analytics for Salesforce, and I mean, I could be wrong, but given what you said and given what I've been seeing, I feel like there's almost a perfect balance between the amount of people who are really good with it, like people you would go, this is a good contractor that will pay a lot of money to sort us out. And then the amount of work that's actually out there, it's not like there's a huge amount where there's a huge deficit and you have like all these people rushing into it. There's like enough work to sustain the people that are in it for now, right? Not less, so that the people who are in it don't get contracts. It's like the ones that come, you get enough work, you're happy, you're in a good place, you don't have a billion people rushing into it where it becomes saturated. It's strange. Like I can't explain. I don't know.
I think you've hit the nail on the head.
I don't know.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. As a contractor in that space, I'm not going to pretend that I've ever been kind of snowed under with work.
Right.
But the right amount of work has always come along at the
Do
right
you know
time.
why? Genuinely, we're both asking.
Is it because the product itself and clients adopting it? Is there not enough clients that have adopted analytics?
So I think it's something that kind of most people don't know about.
I guess it changes often too, right?
And I was
the
going
names
to say,
change
the naming just makes things very clear.
What is it officially now? Can you tell us?
It's
Or?
CRM Analytics.
Sure.
That's what it is.
You're 100% sure.
1 billion%.
Because
sure
I
right
remember,
there.
you might remember this, being at the World Tour in the Excel when they first announced
Uh-huh.
AI and Einstein Analytics. And it was like the biggest thing at that time. And then 2 years later, they changed the name and you're like...
Tableau CRM, yeah. And it was literally one day on Twitter. I just kind of, I saw the change. So I was in the analytics program when it, the Salesforce Champions program, but it was called the Analytics Champions. And I found out on Twitter one day that it was called Tableau CRM. Like we had no heads up. And yeah, it was literally just overnight, it's Tableau CRM. To be honest, I always found that name confusing, and I think customers found it
that's why the change came in.
very confusing. You were going to ask me, do I like the name now?
Yeah.
No.
What would you make it? Because I liked Einstein Analytics.
I liked Einstein Analytics.
Was it
but
copywritten or
I-
something?
No. So
Did
I think
Einstein complain?
I think because of the whole Einstein branding with Salesforce, you had kind of
exactly,
Einstein
man.
prediction. I think everybody kind of just used Einstein as a catch-all term for the reporting, and it wasn't. So I can understand the need to change it. The Tableau CRM thing made no sense to me. The CRM Analytics thing, for me, I find it a bit too generic. Like if you Google CRM Analytics, unless you kind of put the proper
You're going to
wild
get
cards or
all the
whatever,
competitors come up as
you're
well.
just going to get all
like-
sorts. You're
yeah,
going to get
exactly.
random. You're going to get
Literally all CRM analytics.
You're going to get the
basically,
theory of
Yeah.
of using
Oh,
CRM
great.
for analytics.
Great.
You're gonna get, like it's, I would call it Salesforce analytics.
That's why clients aren't adopting it. They're seeing that.
Yeah.
They're Googling it. If you're a client watching it, Manny, right?
The biggest snore of a search string. Just like everything under the sun that you could possibly read. It's like 1,000 pages.
You
of
get to
stuff.
like page 3 on Google and you're like, forget this. I'm not implementing CRM analytics. But for clients that may be watching it, give them some of the benefits that you've seen and how it can give that investment and ROI if you're looking to invest in CRM analytics.
Yeah.
So for me, I think that the biggest thing is, so like I always tell people, my role is to, I tell a story with data, right? With the intention being to use that to create, to drive actionable insights. So, and that just sounds really kind of salesy or whatever, but basically,
I like it. Sold.
basically what it means is like we're just
Word for word demo.
Dave, are you watching this? I think we need CRM analytics.
So I mean, just nowadays we're all
do
producing.
now.
We're producing way more data, right? And like, and I find that most companies just don't know how to make sense of all the like. There's a bit here, there's a bit here, and CRM Analytics is the perfect tool for harmonizing all of that to kind of make sense of what is happening here and what should we be doing. And I think that's the biggest. In all the examples of kind of, I say best practice. In terms of all the examples of kind of best practice that I've seen, it just helps you. It helps you make sense of your data, and also just kind of be forward looking and kind of all right.
But is it accurate in that prediction?
So
Like when you're trying to predict? I guess it depends on what you
look,
put in it, for sure.
no prediction model can ever be 100% accurate.
100%,
right? But
yeah.
what it is, it's. So I don't know if you use Chat GPT at the moment, right? I don't know if you use it at all.
My brothers
for
do, but
anything.
yeah.
Depending on how well you train it, like it can
No
come out.
doubt,
I've used
yeah.
it, and it's initially it's just kind of asking it really open-ended, random questions, and it's coming out with kind of really fluffy stuff. And once you kind of get a bit more specific in your, then you start to get better quality answers, right? It's the same thing with Einstein Discovery, which is the kind of AI machine learning part of CRM analytics. If you're feeding it better data, etc., then eventually like I said, nothing will ever be 100%, but eventually you're going to get better quality
Sure.
predictions. It's not just the predictions, let me say. It's just it's in terms of, from a dashboard, you can action a record. So, for instance, one thing I like doing is going into, as part of kind of PSC, I like to build a data quality dashboard to show this is the quality of the data
Sure.
we're working with. Because anything we build,
Like
on
a
top of
health
this
check
is-
kind of on what
Correct.
you got going on.
And from that dashboard, you can then action, when you see record, you can action that record directly from that dashboard. So
I swear we need this.
I
man.
was just going to say, yeah, like, man.
Like, if anyone's watching it right now,
sure.
we need this tool.
So the actionable insights start from there, just in
Man.
terms of just what I'm able to do, what action am I able to drive from that dashboard, all the way up to predictions and et cetera, et cetera.
Nice.
So that's why I think.
Would you ever deviate after investing so much time in CRM analytics? Have you seen a product or an offering in Salesforce currently right now where you're like, you know what, I might dabble in that?
Yeah, so Tableau. I mean, I think it just makes sense for me.
Natural crossover, right?
Correct. But in terms of kind of other clouds, if I see something that kind of, like I described the kind of eureka moment for me, right, with the CRM analytics, if I ever kind of have that moment again with anything else, I think because I've been specializing in this now for a while, I've tended not to keep up with everything else that's going on, right?
Yeah.
So if I kind of am at Dreamforce or World Tour or something and I just happen to see something that just blows me away, then yeah. But for now, it just doesn't. For me, I'm doing something that I enjoy. That is.
Analytics is a good space though, man. Like you can't really go wrong. Even if like you have to pivot tools in the future, it's like analytics is analytics.
Especially if
and
you
it
look at the future
transfers.
and what companies are investing in.
100%.
AI.
I feel in a really kind of good space, just like because of what you said. yeah.
Definitely. Speaking of space, changing space.
Where you going with this, man?
Right? where we started actually. So you said you were thinking of moving out here, yeah?
No,
He's
trying to persuade someone.
No, man. I have no end goal.
She might be watching. He's gonna get home and he's like, "Say what now, Manny?"
Like secrets out now.
I feel like we should put like a forward-looking
know,
statement
yeah.
or something. Just
Manny's not getting on that flight. He's like, "Yeah, it got delayed."
I've lived here before too, right? Like Hemi's been living here for time. Like, but we both worked here as permanent people. Right, like we were working in permanent jobs.
Yep.
Like as someone who's a freelancer, does it feel a little bit more free if you're someone who is thinking about making a move to a different geographical location, different city? Do you feel a bit more like, hey, it's really not that big of a
If
deal
your
to pick
situation
up
allows
and-
it, then you can
yeah.
move.
So to be honest, I think just COVID and the whole pandemic situation and how that kind of it just seemed to open up the marketplace globally.
Yeah,
I feel
big time.
now is, I mean, if you wanted to relocate, the option is there. But I feel like the opportunities are just there, just globally. I've seen contracts that are in this country or that country. I've just finished an 18-month contract with a company based in Amsterdam.
18-month or flat out?
18 months.
That's not bad.
No breaks.
It's a good deal. No, I mean like they gave you the 18 months right off the bat.
No.
There were some extensions in there.
There were some extensions
okay,
in
no
there.
worries.
Gonna say,
No, that's
gonna say
pretty
they
good.
loved money. Just 18 months straight. They're like, here you go, buddy.
My point is that
Wouldn't doubt it.
they were in Amsterdam. I never really needed to be. I went there a couple of times. But
For fun.
I did. You're gonna get me in trouble, right?
I had to go. Client demanded I come
Do you
to
know what?
Amsterdam.
I do love it in tech.
Don't even try and play that off.
Because Mao does it and I do it. Like, it was a necessary business
They really
trip.
needed me. Yeah.
There was you never needed to go. You never needed to go. Mao didn't have to be here for these 5 days. But he came.
No, I did. I did.
he did.
I did.
He
I
did.
stand by that.
Yeah. So
What was the question?
You completely threw me off. But yeah, so it works both ways. If you're looking to relocate, I think now's probably the best time to, because you could be anywhere and work from anywhere. But also, when I first started out in contracting, I had to kind of take roles that I didn't necessarily want to. They were kind of away
To
from
get that
home or whatever
experience
to
of-
get experience. And now I feel like
You can pick
the
and choose,
marketplace
right?
is so open. Yeah, there are contracts available to you pretty much from all over the globe. So you can stay where you are and kind of work a contract in the US or in the Middle East or whatever. or-
Twist the time zone a bit and you can make it work, right?
Correct. Yeah.
It does seem like a different time. Like you remember calling people, like me and Hemi. Like it's very strange because I don't know. I feel like we started our jobs at a time where it's not like we've been doing this for 20 years, where it was very normal.
Still evolving, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
like we were kind of at a point where we started, and it was very normal at that point to say, "Hey, like this is the role, this is the pay, all that good stuff." But like, can you go to Leeds for whatever X amount of days out of the week? And it's like, oh, I could probably make it work, right? But now it's not even a question. Like in most of the cases, it's not really a thing. It's-
Especially for contracts.
Yeah.
Like, especially for contracts.
Exactly.
And
And I
if
mean-
it is, your rate, I mean, and that's one thing I was going to ask you, Manny. Like, anyone that's watching it because Mao and me get it all the time. I've been perm for 10 years. It's been great. I'm thinking about contracts, but I don't know if I can make the move. What advice would you give to anyone watching who's perm? Because the stats are out, right? If we look at North America, they're saying over 60% are going to go more temp. That's a huge statistic. And I think it's going to follow suit for the rest of the world, but there's still many that are still on the fence with contracts. It's too risky.
And I guess it's you've touched on the right word there. It's the level of risk that everybody's prepared to take, right? Most people are risk averse, and that's why they kind of stay in jobs. And and that works best for them. I'd say if you're someone that's kind of on the fence about doing it, I would say the most important thing is probably to have a bit of a reserve, some money in reserve,
sure.
like just to.
I've heard this multiple times. Yeah.
I think that's the most important thing, right? Because then you're reducing.
It's like running a business.
Correct.
You won't go into business with no money.
Because then you can always then just dip your toe
Sure.
in the water and see how it goes. And if it doesn't work out for you, if you realize actually I don't like the thought of having to wait for a renewal every.
Can
every
always
3
go back
months
to
or-
perm.
I can always just go back and find. It won't be the same job you were at, but
Never know. You're calling your old manager
Or-
back. So about that job.
Yeah, but you could also go back contract, right?
Or-
That's the thing. It's
but
like,
if you decide it's just not for you at all, let's. Just
oh,
say,
no doubt. Sure.
Then
Yeah, that's fine. Perm is always there.
correct. Yeah.
But it's like when you look at risk too, there's two ways to look at it. Like how long does it take to get hired in a perm job? In a lot of cases, it actually takes a while. Sure, you have some where it's in a week you end up in a new perm job.
That's
but
the
it's
UK
not,
market.
Yeah, but it's
But
not
imagine,
really.
imagine Germany where it takes
But it's
on
not
average
really
2 to
like that,
3
man.
months.
Even in Canada, it can take a long time to hire someone perm. So yeah, like as a contractor, could you be sacked quicker? Sure. But are you always hired faster? Yeah. Like almost 100% always.
I've
right?
had contracts where there was one where I went up to Leicester on a Thursday, and they asked me if I could start on the Friday.
Yeah.
They didn't even want to wait.
You
till
don't
the
you don't
Monday,
see
like-
perm jobs too where it's like they kind of know the person from a previous project and they hire them right away. No, with perm they go through the whole
still the same.
process and it's how it
long-winded.
works.
It's long-winded.
With contract they see the name sometimes. Like, yeah, no worries. We remember this person. We're good. When can they start? Perfect. Send them the contract. Done. They don't even interview.
Yep.
So
Do you
right?
not think as well, like with all the change in the world economically, that it's actually going towards people going more contracts? Because it seems like there seems to be a shift now that people are realizing that maybe going contracts, not just in terms of financial, but just in terms of scope, picking up different skills,
You would
working
think so,
different projects.
But I think people tend to err on the side of caution, right? People tend to be risk averse. Okay, I'm going to have a perm role because then I know that I've got a job. And if I don't have a job for whatever reason, there's at least a severance package or you see what I mean? I've worked with some brilliant people in my time, and you know, all the while I've been contracting, there are some people that I kind of look up to, or people that I kind of consider to be kind of, you know,
Top dog.
rock stars, you know,
Sure.
they're not necessarily just in Salesforce, just in general. And I always wonder, well, why aren't they doing what I'm doing? Like, what is it? And I remember meeting up with my friend for dinner not too long ago, and I asked him, "Have you never ever thought about going alone? Like you like the amount of stuff you know, your experience, like your." And he said, "To be honest, I've thought about it many times, but when it comes down to it, like." I just prefer the security of having a job, not having to go and source my own work, and you know, not having gaps. It's
not for everybody.
It's not for everybody.
Do you think it's more mental as well?
I think it is.
Fear.
It's exactly that. I think most people they're inclined to just preserve what they do have and not kind of rock the boat. Most people don't want to necessarily have to do all the work that it takes to build up, you know,
Build up
brand
a
or
network,
And that's fair enough,
actually
right?
have people contacting you, right? Rather than you going out to the market.
do you think it depends where you're based too?
In what regard?
Like what your setup is. So if you're set up in the UK with a UK limited, if you're set up in the States with an LLC or an S corp, if you're set up in Dubai with, I don't know what it's called in Dubai, but yeah, wherever your business is set up, wherever your corporation is set up that you're contracting through, do you think that also affects the way people look at contracting?
To be honest, I don't know, and I can't imagine that it would. I think it's a mindset first. I think some people are entrepreneurial. Some people
Okay,
aren't.
that's
Some
fair.
people don't really like, you know, kind of organized structure. Some people do. But I think it's just one of those things. If everybody was an entrepreneur, then nobody would be an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
if that
Yeah,
makes sense.
Yeah,
So,
100%.
there's some people who don't mind. Hey, I'm gonna work for 6 months of the year.
And take a
I'm gonna
break.
make enough money not to work for the rest of the year, or you know, I'm gonna make a pile
I
of.
kind of love that.
I mean, it's
Or
the
there's
dream, right?
Manny who just worked 18 months straight. and that's why he's in
no
Barcelona
break.
drinking Kava right now.
He's here for a
He's like, I ain't taking one holiday. They're some of the
you know
ones
what?
that when I
You're-
speak to, I admire them. Like
You're really close to the
contractors.
truth. I was listening to David earlier saying he's really great at knowing when to switch off, etc. I'm very bad at it, and my wife will tell you that we've been on holiday sometimes, and I'm still there.
Me and
building
Mal, you
dashboards.
do that
It's
as well,
terrible.
man.
It's terrible.
But I've improved though. I feel like I've definitely improved. It's like a bit of a work in process. But to shut her down, because we're running out on time here, someone's laid off today. A lot of people are getting laid off. Someone gets the news today. What's your advice to them?
Yeah.
In Salesforce, obviously, like in the same relative space.
Get
for
into CRM
contracts.
Analytics.
I mean, but not too many of you. No. You know, I'm joking, but it's a serious topic. First of all, it's really brutal. Like my LinkedIn all year has just been story after story of people getting layoffs. I've heard some really horrible things. I've kind of heard an unconfirmed story that someone, took their own life as a result of layoffs, etc. It's really, really, really horrible. The first thing I will say is, just as someone that's been through a redundancy, it's never as bad as you think it's going to be. That might not be any consolation now because, you kind of think, how am I going to pay my bills, my mortgage, how am I going to feed my kids, etc. It's real. So the one thing I will say is that it does get better. And I think just for the thing is, we're talking about some seriously talented people,
man.
like
Big time.
people who I feel can walk into anywhere and kind of and have people begging to hire them and kind of.
Sure.
So I feel like everybody's going to land on their feet. Again, I don't know that that's necessarily a consolation, but the one thing I'll say, look, take some time to just kind of,
I was gonna
to just
say,
decompress and just kind of
take a break from
yeah,
it.
like, and the most important thing to, from what I've heard, it's been high achievers, low, like it's been
Yeah, it's random.
So don't internalize, don't personalize it, don't feel that this is.
But use that experience to your advantage because you've got something that
I think,
many
like I
don't
said,
have.
I think some of these people can walk into anywhere with their eyes closed and just off the value of their CV alone will land on their feet and be all right. But yeah, for those of you who may have been either had an eye on contracting before or maybe curious about, I'd definitely advise it as a way to go. You're an expert in your field, whether you realize it or not, and there are people out there who'd be dying to kind of take you on. And then for everybody else who just wants, again, the security of their next job, etc., you'll get there. You definitely will. Like, take some time to just kind of process it all. Most important thing is not to over, what's the word? Not to be over anxious. Like, and just kind of just strategize. What's my next move? I can't stress enough how horrible it is. But
on your next move, I wanted to ask you, for the people that don't know you, we always like to end the segment with a bit of a quick fire.
Okay.
Let's get to know Manny while he's still drinking kava, so he's a bit more open. You talked about not being able to switch off, but when you do get a chance to actually switch off and you're not taking flights to Barcelona to learn salsa and the bachata with Mao, how do you now allow yourself, because I've been there, right? Like, where you're taking emails on holiday, it's affecting your personal life. What do you do now? Is there anything that you implement to switch off that you can give insight to?
Well, the first thing I do, which I think every married man should do, is I listen to my wife more now than I used to. So, it's something that became a problem after a while. And so I kind of had to listen to her, just in terms of, like, family time is family time. And so I've tried to be stricter about boundaries. But I've got a young family, so I've got two daughters. One is 4, one is 1.5. And to be honest, they take up most of it. Like, being a family man is just the greatest gift in the world. I always tell everybody I'm a husband and a dad first, and I build dashboards in my spare time, right? So yeah, to kind of make time for family. I've also kind of just started getting back into some things that I enjoy doing. So just recently started playing football again. Just started going to the gym again. All these kind of things.
First session's always the hardest one.
So the first session took me about 2 weeks to recover from.
Still feel it, buddy.
I think the biggest thing was kind of being at home I used to work from home a lot before the pandemic, but after since the pandemic, it's been
Constant.
And I just think, again, just kind of referring back to David, in terms of I've not always been good at separating work and kind of home.
It's good you're honest about it, though, Manny, because a lot of people, they do it and they don't realize the effect, because it's not sustainable. Like,
It's not,
the older
it's
you
not,
get,
it's not.
mental health, physical health, like, we've seen all the cases now where we're actually open as men to talk about mental health. But before, we wouldn't even mention it. We would just drown and be logged in for 20 hours. But the fact that you're vulnerable about it, I think, shows.
My wife's a psychotherapist, so I've
There you
kind of
go.
had to learn. I've had to learn to be vulnerable.
That's why he's so clued on.
Nah, but Manny, man, we appreciate it. Look, you came all the way from the UK. We're here in Barcelona. Mal's going to take you out to dance some salsa tonight. David's going to join. It's going to be one hell of a night. But look, I think for anyone watching that has been affected, connect with Manny if you need any advice on, going to contract, different areas that you want to go into, and look out for it, man. And if you've got anything in CRM Analytics, or you're a client watching right now who's looking to adopt it, reach out to Manny. He might be able to help you.
I need more work.
He's available now. On that now, Mal, peace out.
Cool.